Okay, so I kept the old graph over there where we had the shortage going on at $5. I kept it over there, and I drew essentially the same starting graph again, where we have iPhone 6s again. I know it's not labeled, but they're the same. iPhone 6s, both spots. Uh, and I've got $100 for the equilibrium price and $100 or 100 iPhone 6s for my equilibrium quantity. But now I said it's $5,000 for an iPhone 6. So 5,000 is like way up here. I may have to extend some lines here in a second. In fact, I'll do it right now. But remember, what did you say was going to happen when there were $5,000 iPhone 6s? Said nobody's going to that Target to buy those iPhone 6s. So essentially, you're saying there's no consumers, there's no demanders in that store. Well, I'm going to draw a dotted line across, just like I did over here, but I'm going to go 5,000 this time. So if I'm way up here at 5,000, and I just take my dotter, okay? Look at your demand curve. At 5,000 bucks, what's that quantity demanded there? It's not very much. I'll dot down. Call it whatever you want to call it. It's got to be less than 100. So let's call it 10. So at $5,000, QD equals 10. So you got 10 customers that show up, dedicated Apple fanboys and girls. But notice what happens. If you were Target and you could sell iPhone 6s for $5,000 each, man, you would love that deal, and you would supply the cojones out of them. Nobody show up buy them, but you would love to sell them if you could at $5,000 a pop. And notice over here is where we hit our supply curve. This is what our quantity supplied is. So I got to drop this down now. So now my quantity supplied is like, I don't know, let's call it 200. We could call it 800. We could call it anything that is bigger than 100. So we'll call it 200. So our quantity supplied, and we've got a difference of 190 here. Now, you could think of this 190 in a lot of different ways. You could think about it as 190 customers that didn't show up to buy iPhone 6s. Hence, there's 190 iPhone 6s still on this Target shelf. You could think of it as 190 iPhone 6s that are this is a surplus of iPhones, and that's what we tend to call this, a surplus. These are iPhones that nobody bought, that just chilled out on the shelves, that nobody wanted. Now, the reason I do all of this is to do the next video, where we talk about this, where we actually see markets where the price is manipulated in such a way that the price is higher or lower than the equilibrium price. And when we have a price that is lower, we get a shortage. When we have the price that's too high, we get a surplus. And so when I do these price floors and ceilings with you in a second, that's what you really need to remember. When the price is artificially below and held below the equilibrium price, you get a shortage. When it's artificially held above the equilibrium price, you get a surplus. Now, I'll talk about why this happens in a second. Try your practice problems, and then watch the ceiling and floor video.